Have you ever stopped and wondered, if there's a completely different way to think about building wealth? Something beyond just work harder, save more.
It's a really common feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to the Gist Gab podcast. We love digging into fascinating ideas and, well, pulling out the key insights for you.
And today we're getting into a book that really flipped a lot of traditional financial thinking on its head for millions. That's Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Ah, yes. That book has had such a massive impact. Kiyosaki sets up this really powerful contrast, doesn't he, between these two father figures in his life.
Mm-hmm.
His actual dad, who he calls Poor Dad, highly educated, but always seemed to be, struggling financially.
Right.
And then his best friend's dad, Rich Dad, who was, wealthy and really financially savvy.
And Kiyosaki uses this contrast, this duality, to explore the mindsets and sort of the strategies that he believes can free us from what he calls the rat race.
The rat race. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. So our goal today is really to unpack these different ways of thinking, understand the core ideas, and see how they might actually help you make smarter choices about money, investments, and building real assets.
Sounds good. So where should we start? Maybe with the foundations, the two dads themselves.
Yeah, let's do that. Chapter 1 territory. Two dads, two perspectives.
Oh.
So Poor Dad, he really represents that conventional wisdom most of us heard growing up.
Absolutely. Get good grades, go to a good school.
Exactly. Formal education, job security, climbing the corporate ladder in a stable company. It was all about, loyalty to your employer equals security and a decent retirement down the line.
But the outcome Kiyosaki saw wasn't always that secure picture, was it? He observed his poor dad, despite having a good job, often living paycheck to paycheck, facing that underlying financial instability.
Right. And it wasn't about not working hard. It highlighted the limits of just relying on that earned income from a job. And maybe that mistaken idea that, formal education alone is the ticket to financial success.
It's really about being tied to that single income source, isn't it? That vulnerability.
Totally. Which makes the contrast with Rich Dad so stark. His philosophy was, radically different.
He was all about financial independence through things like entrepreneurship, smart investing, and crucially, really understanding how money works. Financial literacy.
Yeah, his main thing was focusing on acquiring assets, things that generate income for you, not just relying on your salary.
That core idea, make money work for you, don't just work for money.
It sounds simple, but it's a huge mental shift.
It really is. It's about changing your whole relationship with money, like you said, making it a tool, not your master. And through Rich Dad, Kiyosaki saw this potential for real financial freedom investing, building businesses, seeing opportunities for passive income everywhere.
It really hammers home that difference between just working hard and, working smart, financially speaking.
Exactly.
So, once you kind of grasp that fundamental difference in outlook, it leads right into Kiyosaki's next big point, the absolute importance of financial education.
Yeah, this is huge in the book. He really drills down on the difference between assets and liabilities. And his definition is key.
Right. And an asset for him is anything that puts money in your pocket.
Like rental properties, bringing in rent, dividend stocks, maybe intellectual property.
And liability.
Takes money out of your pocket. Think car payments, credit card debt, even the mortgage on your primary residence potentially.
And he argues that most people just don't get this distinction, right? Not in the way he means it. It's not about accounting definitions on a balance sheet.
No, exactly. It's all about cash flow. Does it bring cash in or does it suck cash out? He thinks failing to grasp this simple idea is what holds so many people back from building wealth.
And it goes beyond just those definitions. True financial understanding, for Kiyosaki, means grasping the whole picture, cash flow patterns, investment strategies, how taxes work, saving versus spending.
Things, he argues, that traditional schooling just doesn't teach us adequately. He's quite critical of the school system for that.
Yeah, he definitely is. Which leads to some common mistakes people make, like the classic one, my house is my biggest asset.
Right. And Kiyosaki pushes back on that. He says, well, it can appreciate, sure, but month to month, with the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, does it put money in your pocket?
Usually not for your own home. It takes money out. So in his cash flow terms, it often functions more like a liability, especially if you bought more house than you can comfortably afford.
Precisely. It can become a huge financial drain.
Or what about that old advice? Just work hard, save diligently in a savings account.
Kiyosaki sees that as risky too. Inflation eats away at savings, you're vulnerable to economic downturns, maybe losing that job. It lacks resilience.
Instead, he's constantly pushing the idea of passive income.
Yeah, money that comes in without you actively having to work for it hour by hour. Rental income, dividends, maybe a business that doesn't need your constant day-to-day involvement.
And that brings up debt, which most people are taught is just bad. Avoid it.
But again, Kiyosaki makes a distinction. He talks about good debt versus bad debt.
Okay, explain that.
Well, good debt, in his view, is debt you take on to buy an asset that generates income, like taking out a loan for a rental property where the rent more than covers the mortgage payment and expenses. You're using leverage to acquire an income stream.
Okay, so the debt helps you make more money.
Exactly. Bad debt, on the other hand, is borrowing for liabilities, things that depreciate or just cost you money, like financing an expensive car or racking up credit card debt for consumer goods.
Got it. So understanding that difference lets you use debt strategically, maybe?
Yeah.
Instead of just letting it drag you down.
That's the idea. It's about how the debt is used.
So given all this assets, liabilities, good debt, bad debt, passive income, what are some practical first steps Kiyosaki suggests for people wanting to improve their financial literacy?
He's big on continuous learning, reading books on finance, investing, maybe attending seminars. Finding mentors is huge for him, learning from people who've already achieved what you want to achieve.
Makes sense. Learn from those who've done it.
But he also really stresses learning by doing. Real-world experience. Start small, maybe try a small investment, dip your toe into a side business. Even if you make mistakes, those lessons are incredibly valuable. More valuable sometimes than just reading theory.
Get some skin in the game, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Get in the game.
Which ties right into his concept of the rat race.
Yeah.
That phrase is so evocative.
It really is. He uses it to describe that endless cycle, right? You work hard at your job, get paid, pay your bills, spend the rest.
And then you're back at the beginning needing the next paycheck. No real progress towards financial freedom.
And he argues people are stuck there mainly because of that lack of financial education we just talked about. We're conditioned, to focus only on our paycheck, our active income.
Instead of figuring out how to build those passive income streams.
Right. So the escape route, the core strategy is that fundamental shift. Stop working for money and start making your money work for you.
Easier said than done, of course.
Oh, absolutely. It requires discipline and a change in thinking, but that's the goal.
And it comes back to assets versus liabilities again, doesn't it? Understanding what really builds wealth versus what just keeps you running in place. Investments are key. Acquiring things that appreciate or throw off cash.
That's the engine for escaping the race. Building up those assets reduces your dependence on your job income. Slowly, maybe, but steadily.
So it's not just about the mechanics, it's also about cultivating a certain mindset, actively looking for opportunities.
Definitely. It requires educating yourself about different investments, stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses, understanding market trends, learning from others. Financial literacy empowers you to see and seize those opportunities.
Which leads us nicely into his strong feelings about entrepreneurship and owning businesses.
Yeah, chapter 4 stuff, the power of entrepreneurship. Rich Dad was all about this, contrasting with Poor Dad's focus on job security.
The argument being that traditional employment, while seeming safe, often caps your financial potential and your freedom in the long run.
Exactly. Kiyosaki sees business ownership as a primary vehicle for building serious wealth and achieving real independence.
What are the main advantages he highlights?
Well, several. You can leverage other people's time and money, not just your own efforts. You're building an asset, the business itself, which can grow in value and generate income.
More control, too, right? Over your income, your direction. You're not limited by a salary band or a boss's decisions.
Right. Autonomy. Freedom to innovate. And then there are the tax advantages he talks about quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a big one for him. Employees pay taxes first, then spend. Business owners
Often spend first on business expenses, then get taxed on the remainder. Things like deductions, depreciation, different corporate structures. He argues the tax system is set up to favor business owners and investors.
So it's like playing the game with a different set of rules.
In many ways, yes. For anyone thinking about this path, Kiyosaki stresses getting that financial education first, understanding your market, finding a niche or a problem to solve. It needs research, planning.
It's not just about having a great idea.
No. It's also about strategic management once you're running. Leadership, financial oversight, constantly adapting and learning. And he emphasizes mentorship, again, learning from those who've built successful businesses.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is that entrepreneurship isn't just about potential financial rewards. It's also a path of significant personal growth.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the mindset piece. Chapter 5, the influence of mindset. Adopting a millionaire's mentality, as he puts it.
This feels crucial. He really believes your mindset is foundational.
Totally. It's about how you perceive things. Seeing opportunities where others might only see risk. Like rich dad versus poor dad, looking at the same potential investment.
One sees danger, the other sees potential upside. It's about perception and being willing to take calculated risks, not reckless ones.
And a big part of this is overcoming limiting beliefs. Those thoughts we all have sometimes.
Like, oh, I could never afford that, or investing is just too complicated for me.
Right. Kiyosaki says you need to flip those. Instead of, I can't afford it, ask, okay, how can I afford it? Instead of, it's too complicated, ask, what do I need to learn to understand this?
It shifts you from a place of scarcity and limitation to one of possibility and abundance. I remember when I first read his take on houses potentially being liabilities. It really challenged my own conditioning.
It challenges a lot of common assumptions. And this mindset involves a commitment to continuous learning. He argues wealthy people are constantly educating themselves about money, investing, business.
Knowledge reduces risk and helps you spot those opportunities. Books, seminars, networking.
All vital tools. It's not just a one-time learning effort, it's ongoing.
And resilience, dealing with failure. That's part of the mindset too, isn't it?
Hugely important. Failure isn't the end, it's a learning opportunity. Kiyosaki talks about his own failures and how they taught him valuable lessons. It's about persistence.
He certainly practices what he preaches, moving from his own struggles to building multiple income streams by changing that mindset. So for you listening, this mental shift is just as vital as any specific financial tactic.
Couldn't agree more. Which leads into the practical application, financial planning, and strategy. Building and protecting the wealth you generate.
Right. You need a plan, a roadmap.
It starts with clear goals.
Yeah.
What are you aiming for? Retirement, a down payment, funding education. Make them specific, give them timelines, prioritize them.
And then budgeting, the B word.
Yeah, but he frames it as essential. Knowing where your money is going, tracking income, tracking expenses. It allows you to spend wisely, live below your means, avoid that bad debt.
And crucially, it helps you consistently set aside money for investing. Build that buffer for emergencies too.
Definitely. Budgeting isn't about deprivation. It's about control and direction.
Then comes the investing part. Putting that saved money to work.
Accumulating those assets we talked about. Stocks, real estate, bonds, maybe pieces of businesses, things that appreciate or pay you regularly. And doing it intelligently. Research is key. Maybe getting expert advice.
Not just jumping into things blindly.
No, and that includes managing risk. Every investment has some risk. It's about balancing the potential reward with the potential for loss.
Diversification helps there, right? Spreading your money across different types of assets.
Exactly. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And insurance plays a role too, protecting your assets and your progress against major setbacks.
Okay, so planning, budgeting, informed investing, risk management. That covers the strategy side. What about the ongoing journey?
That brings us to the last key theme, lifelong learning and adaptation. The journey doesn't really end.
Financial freedom isn't a destination you just arrive at and stop.
Not really. Kiyosaki emphasizes continuous education beyond school, staying updated on financial trends, investment strategies, business developments. The world changes constantly.
So adaptability is key.
Hugely. The economy shifts, technology changes things, policies evolve. You need to be flexible, willing to adjust your strategies, embrace new opportunities, maybe pivot away from things that aren't working anymore.
Don't get stuck in old ways of thinking just because they used to work.
Precisely. And mentorship remains important throughout the journey. Having experienced guides can help you navigate challenges, offer insights you might miss. Think about the impact Rich Dad had on Kiyosaki's whole life perspective.
Yeah, it was profound. Financial clubs, mastermind groups, they can offer similar benefits, tapping into collective wisdom.
Absolutely. And all of this ties into personal growth. Building financial success isn't just about numbers, it's about developing resilience, a proactive attitude, that growth mindset we discussed.
Reading, workshops, reflections, they all fuel your ability to overcome obstacles.
And embracing change is fundamental. Resisting it holds you back. Accepting it, learning new tools, exploring emerging markets, adjusting your approach that gives you an edge.
So the journey is dynamic. It requires staying curious, agile, and committed to learning.
That sums it up nicely. It's an ongoing process, not a final exam.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together. Rich Dad, Poor Dad really pushes you, the listener, to shift from just working for money.
To making your money work for you.
And that shift comes from, well, a few core things. Changing your mindset about money and risk, committing to continuous financial education, and really focusing strategically on acquiring those income-generating assets.
It really boils down to understanding that difference, what puts money in your pocket versus what takes it out, that cash flow perspective.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. If financial independence really does start with mindset and how we define assets and liabilities in our own lives, what's maybe one belief or one habit about money that you might re-examine for yourself starting today?
Yeah, that's a great question. How might your definitions change after this discussion? And maybe what's one small concrete step you could actually take, perhaps even this week, towards building genuine financial freedom? Something to think about.